But yeah, the interesting thing about bowel movements when you don't have hydrated intestines is they tear. Your intestines start to rip. So there were several times where I was on psych, and not even just psych, intensive psych, which is suicide watch. Basically, right? Cot, fire blanket, turtle soup. But you don't have any toilet paper. There's nothing in your immediate area that can give you a quick death as they see fit, right? You can stick your head in the toilet, but if you do pass out, they'll see you because they do rounds almost every hour. But these gentlemen, being as smart as they are, and as ruthless as they are, but at the same time, as petty as they are, don't bring around toilet paper all the time. You have to ask for it. Now, once again, I'm stubborn. This is on me. But I was one night, and matter of fact, the thing about psych that's so funny, well, at least the suicide pod that I was on that was so hilarious, was they would bring intakes up there. And these guys would ask the most hilarious questions. One young man, he had gotten caught outside for getting jumped. I'm basically gonna put it like that. The young man, the police had told him to stop walking in the direction he was walking in. He was just trying to go home. He had some marijuana on him. He was just like, I just want to smoke and get home. And there was this group of guys that were coming towards him. He was like, I'm trying to get across the street. And the police told him to stop. He was like, well, these guys are coming at me. I'm not going to stop for them. It looks like they're not going to stop. So he ended up getting a tussle with the guys that were walking past. And then the police broke the fight up and arrested him. Right? Crazy. But he comes in and he's asking, like, man, so what's your most dangerous pod? And the CEO answers. He's in the chair, by the way. Uh, Another tangent. I apologize, but he's in the chair. The chair is this. The chair is used as a restraining device. It's for people who are headbangers, for people who like to gouge their own eyes out, for people who like to stick their heads in the toilet. You can't leave the chair if you're truly crazy because then they look at you like he could be a threat to himself or to other people, and we don't need that. And we could. It just doesn't look good for him to be out because he can't control himself. So they strap you down in this chair, and there's a spit mask and the whole nine. But this young man was sitting in the chair, no spit mask on, obviously, because he could talk. He was asking, man, what's your roughest pod? The CEO responds, oh, that would be our murder pod. And I remember thinking to myself, thank goodness I don't have to go there. I was wrong. But we'll get to that later. The next question this young man asked, do you guys have like a rape pod? Like I was like, oh, I hope not. I hope not. Cause that would be terrifying. But they didn't. They didn't have a rape pod. But right. There would be so many funny instances. One night it wasn't funny though. There was this gentleman who stayed in the cell next to me and he really needed toilet paper. He was going to defecate without toilet paper. And at the time, I was still believing in human morals and values. I still had that humanity on my mind. So I told myself that it would be inhumane for us not to be brought toilet paper when we needed it. Boy, was I wrong. It must have been plenty human because the COs just laughed at him as he begged them for toilet paper and they never brought it. They let that man defecate on himself without toilet paper and laughed at him. When I at first when I heard this, I just couldn't believe it. I was just sitting there like, no, not the police. Couldn't be the police. These people help people. It was the police. I don't know what that man did, right? He could have been the next, or he could have had a mass shooting attempt, right? He could have raped a little girl. He could have done whatever. I don't know that. But what I do know is he at least has enough human decency to want to clean himself. And you should give him aid in that alone. You don't have to be terrible just because he's terrible. We're all in here for something. This is something that they told me later on when I went to general population. We're all in here for something. Some of us are innocent. Some of us are guilty. We are the only ones that know that. But to deny you basic human rights, that's not cool. It's not. And at the same token, he could have been innocent. He could have been framed. So because you really don't know, and because it is innocent until proven guilty, him to not have toilet paper is an insult to humanity, to what I thought the police were built upon, to deny that man toilet paper. So I took it upon myself. I said, well, I'm not going to be a laughingstock for these people. I'm not. I won't allow myself to give them the satisfaction of listening to me beg for toilet paper and allowing them to have fun denying me. So when I finally had my first bowel movement, it was painful. I sat on the toilet for maybe 30 minutes trying to push, it's going to get graphic, but trying to push fecal matter and just feeling rips and tears and sitting there like, okay, this is what being human is all about, right? Right? But I did that to myself. So I couldn't blame anybody else for that one. But the next part, having to use my own hands and seeing my own hands covered in blood and fecal matter with no soap to wash them off with, just water. That's why whenever I hear people talk about being embarrassed, or whenever I hear people talk about feeling a certain type of way about going out into society, I just can't vibe with it anymore. I used to have a shameful bone in my body, but I'm pretty sure that experience just evaporated all of the shame. I looked at my hand, and what looked back at me was the human condition at its finest. I was able to realize at that very moment, nothing in this world matters. There's no reason for me to care about what other people think, because what they think about me means absolutely nothing to my situation. I still have to get done what I need done by any means necessary. But I won't give them the satisfaction of having me beg them for something. I won't. You won't get it out of me. I may have been stupid in doing this. I may have been stubborn. I should have just gotten on my knees and said, hey, please bring me some toilet paper. But the way they laughed at him, no. I I guess I have too much pride. I just couldn't do it. But my next few days in psych were nothing like that, right? Of course, there was still the I need toilet paper. Well, let's go ahead and let's just go ahead and keep going how we're going. I didn't understand the concept of jail. I was so used to doing things independently as well, which I found out later on could be a something that stems from jealousy. But I'll get to jealousy and envy on a later episode. I was vastly independent. I just didn't want any help from anybody with anything. I didn't feel like I needed it. Nobody should have needed it from me, right? But that was wrong, and I completely understand that now. Now I ask for help and I take handouts because I'm not too proud to. I'm still working through it to this day. But I'm glad I did it then because it broke my mindset from the I need to have the acceptance of other people. I need to be accepted by other people because I don't. We are social creatures, humans. But if your need for acceptance outweighs your wanting to accomplish something or you're wanting to get somewhere, then you'll just be regular when you could have been phenomenal. With that being said, I went so long, an embarrassing amount of time without taking a shower. I don't believe I took a shower until July 16th, right? Skipping forward because my time on psych was relatively boring. I'll be honest with you. Look up at the ceiling, wait for them to bring me Boost, Gatorade, and possibly an orange. Of course, there were the trays that I would never touch. The COs and porters would have a fun time teasing me. Hey, Peterson, this is from the nurse. Come on, it's a special delivery. Or they'd be like, he's Boost Boy. He only drinks Boost. Look at him. Psychopath drinking Boost. I'd just be sitting there like, these people really don't know who I am. Okay, like, that's fine. But it is what it is. I just sit in my cell. I look out of my window and I just cry. When they finally moved me off psych, that's when all of this started happening. When they started bringing trays and leaving them, bringing plastic bottles and leaving them, because at that point, I'm not even going to say off of psych, off of suicide watch. My apologies. At that point, I'm not high risk. I'm not going to swallow a plastic cap to get myself out of here, right? But I'm still depressed, heavily depressed. So much so that I think it's a good idea to get up out of here. Like, I'm still, oh, woe is me. Death is it. Just go ahead, take me off. Like, still skipping days eating because I'm just like, nah, I'm cool. Life is not lifing correctly right now. So I think death should be deathing. I want deathing right now, right? But I'm sitting there going through all my turmoil and I have a dream. Weirdest dream of my life. Probably the first dream I've ever had somebody speak words to me in. I promise you, it couldn't get any weirder than this dream, and I'll try to describe it in a way that makes the most amount of sense.